What is up, Buffalo fanatics? Z-Bot Rico. It's Rico and Bot live on the Buffalo Ravens YouTube channel on a Sunday night. And Rico, it's not just any Sunday night. 'Twas the night before free agency frenzy. Legal tampering period kicks off tomorrow. We're right into the swing of the free agency period this upcoming week. About a month and a half from the draft, and fresh off, Rico, a wild week where a bunch just went down throughout the National Football League, including at One Bills Drive. Rico, my brother, how are you feeling?
We are feeling good. You just talked about free agency around the corner, and I got my man Brett _Pats has the Alfonso Rivera dancing down the line on the Jennifer Hudson show, because that's how it is, man. We dancing down the line because free agency is happening tomorrow, and legal tampering period, baby. So we about to find out who's going where and what fits is going to. Hey, listen, who's getting paid? That's what's really going to happen. Alec Pierce, how much money is that brother going to get? Is he going to be in that 28 to 30 mil when he hasn't really proven as much in this league? Listen, this is where money is going to be spent, and a lot of people are going to be wondering, holy crow, maybe we overreacted on this DJ Moore trade, or maybe not. Maybe there's some reason that people still feel some type of way about it. So I'm glad I get to share the mic with you, because I had my opinion on it, and I was telling people to calm down, and then I was told, you shouldn't tell people to calm down. They should feel how they want to feel. Don't tell them to calm down. I was like, well, golly, I guess I'm just supposed to just sit here and look pretty and say nothing. No,
well, you're doing a good job of that. I'll give you credit there. I mean, you are really nailing that part of it. I, of course, picked the worst few days to go on a little mini vacay with the fam. You know, I'm kicking it poolside out in the Florida, or FLA, not the Florida, FLA. Out in Florida. Yeah, Florida.
Did you meet with your boy? Did you meet our boy Dan Mitchell?
I wasn't in Dan's neck of the woods. Florida's a big state. A lot going on out in Florida. And what was going on was a lot in the NFL that I was not ready to, I was thinking it was going to be this upcoming week that we were going to be seeing the craziness, and I'm sure that's in store for us kicking off tomorrow. I hope it is. But we saw some moves, some big moves, one for Buffalo, one for an arch rival of Buffalo, dying to see what Signified has to say about these Baltimore Ravens. But let's start with the Buffalo Bills, who make a move at the position, of course, we were all convinced they would make a move at. Was this the move we thought they were going to make? Is this the end of moves that they make at this position? What is the overall approach going to be to the wide receiver room? Well, we've already seen somewhat of an approach towards resolving what could be argued as the weakest element of the Buffalo Bills team, that wide receiver position. DJ Moore. Wicked DJ. DJ Moore in Buffalo.
Let me tell you how funny that is. Because you did the same thing I did.
Did you do that?
Yo.
DJ
Moore. Every time we mention DJ Moore, man, the horns are coming on. DJ Moore.
We got to get that. We got to get a record scratch sound on that thing for DJ Moore.
Sure.
Well, hopefully we have a lot of opportunity to use that record scratch, Rico, because this is now the Buffalo Bills' new wide receiver one. I mean, this is, no matter how you view this, and man, was there some controversy behind this, and I understand why. This is what happens in this day and age. In the information age, where everyone's trying to be first to tell you what happens, you don't get all the facts at once. So you immediately see DJ Moore to Buffalo for a mid-round pick. Sounds pretty good to me. When I see this, I'm like, already better than anything the Bills have.
Agreed.
He's already going to be bringing them what they were after, I would imagine, this offseason, a vertical threat that gets separation. Veteran in that room. They really don't have anybody like that you would rely on to be the guy you're going to be able to build on for the next couple of years here. They just have not had that. This was going to happen. And, you could get that through the draft. Maybe they still will, but is that going to be reliable right now? And when we keep talking about right now, it's because it's never been more prevalent to get it done than it is right now, as Josh Allen's number of years played in this league continues to grow as we get towards double digits here. So you're getting that. But initially you see DJ Moore, mid-round pick. I don't know about you guys. Mid-round pick to me is round 3 or later. I don't refer to the second round as a mid-round pick. That to me is a top pick. Top pick to me, round 1, round 2. You get into your mid-rounds. I'll be honest. I don't really care about the pick. Because I can't be a hypocrite. I told Bean through the interweb, I told all you guys vicariously, I should say, I like through you guys to Bean. I said, I don't care about these picks. I don't care about these picks. You got to use these picks right now to go and get guys that can help you win right now. And are you going to get a better wide receiver in round 2 than DJ Moore? No. So because of that, I couldn't be more fine with it. I think at the time, I was a bit like, oh, that seems rich, because I had already convinced myself we're talking round 3, round 4 here. But that's just because it was never round 3, round 4 in the age of, oh, I got to get the tweet out first. You know, this is what happens. If it would have been second round right off the bat, well, then you take it for what it is right off the bat. You wouldn't have wasted 15 minutes convincing yourself that the Bills got a better deal than they ever really had, right? The other thing, though, here, too, is the financials behind this. And this is what's interesting about this whole scenario. The Bills are going to be paying DJ Moore guaranteed money into 2028 when he's going to be 31 years old.
Correct.
I understand the concern here about the money being owed to DJ Moore. And I think that it's fair for Bills fans to be concerned about this. When you had as much money as you had tied up into Josh Palmer, when you wound up paying Curtis Samuel roughly $400,000 a catch for his services in Buffalo, I think there's definitely some room for understanding here. There's some room for understanding here, where Bills fans are concerned that maybe Brandon Beane had his feet held to the fire a little too closely, and as a result, he pulled back by launching a second-round pick and over $60 million guaranteed to DJ Moore. But then again, though, it's like, what do you want Brandon Beane to do right now? We've talked about this on here. Justin Jefferson, would we all love it? Sure. And, you know, is he tradable? Well, we didn't know if Maxx Crosby was. We'll talk about that in a second. I still do think that Justin Jefferson could be moved. But let's be honest, if Maxx Crosby just went for 2 firsts, I don't know what Justin Jefferson's going for. Okay? So you got to look at what's possible here. And DJ Moore was probably at the high end of what was possible this offseason. Did Brandon Beane perhaps overspend maybe a bit in terms of draft capital? You could argue it, maybe. But really, at the end of the day, that pick wound up averaging out to what, the 60th overall pick. I don't think you're doing better than what Beane just did personnel-wise in getting DJ Moore. The only concern that I am completely in alignment here in terms of understanding is the idea that if DJ Moore comes in and it's not what he was meant to be, and what he is meant to be, and don't get it twisted, he is meant to be the Buffalo Bills, Jamar Chase, the Buffalo Bills, Justin Jefferson, or an equivalent. That is what he was just brought in to be. This isn't an ancillary side project like Josh Palmer felt like, or Curtis Samuel felt like, or Amari Cooper felt like. No, this is the guy. DJ Moore is the guy now. This is the new Diggs for the later stages of Josh Allen's career. If this doesn't pan out, the amount of money you're on the hook for guaranteed here is going to be a major concern. And so I understand why people look at this and think, well, and maybe you're taking on a bit more financially here than you should have. But my counter to that is, at least this is how I feel, Rico, beggars can't be choosers. And I think every single one of us were begging Brandon Beane to do something. And I think this is a bit better than something. We were having conversations about Shaheed and Dobbs. He didn't even wait to get to that free agency period. Beane makes a move for a guy that's had multiple 1,000-yard seasons, a guy that has proven that he can be a top guy, and really a guy that I think at this moment in time immediately brings you stability to a position where the Bills don't have much. So I'm fine with it. And I do think that in the position the Bills are in, everybody knew they were going to be desperate at wide receiver. The odds of them underpaying on a top guy were next to none, because this is what happens when everybody knows the need that your team has. Everybody knows this. You could be the most casual fan on the planet and know the Bills needed a wide receiver between January and September of this upcoming year. And they went out and got one of the better guys that I think is going to be available in this cycle. So once again, Rico, though, it all comes down to that age-old saying that a wise man once came up with, and that is, we will find out. And we will find out with DJ Moore if the juice was worth the squeeze. But as of right now, the squeeze had to be squeezed. And that's what Brandon Beane did. And as it sits right now, I'm excited to have DJ Moore in Buffalo.
I'm excited to have DJ Moore in Buffalo as well. And like you said, I think like we all knew, the whole league knew we needed to do something 2 years ago. Actually, let me go beyond that. The league knew we needed to do something when Diggs left. It was all about, okay, what's Josh Allen going to look like without Stephon Diggs? Oh, he's about to plummet. He doesn't have his number one receiver. He's about to plummet. What does Josh do? Josh goes out and gives you MVP right on your head top. So then it was like, okay, you got the MVP. Okay, so maybe he can do without Josh. But now it's not about, do it without Diggs. Now it's not about doing it without Diggs. It's about, are you going to win one anytime soon? When are you going to win one? So that's been a part that you've needed to add to Josh's weaponry. And we answered the bell. We've been wanting to find the guy. We've gone through an ample amount of I guess, suggestions made to the team or guys brought in, like Amari Cooper was one of them. Elijah Moore was another. I'm trying to think of the top of my head who we've tried to bring in to try at least help. Mac Hollins brought in, you name it. We just couldn't get it done. So you finally get the guy that can do everything at all three levels, that is durable in this game, because the problem is you go to Buffalo, you can't stay durable. This guy's durable. There's no issue. This should be a non-issue. This should be like, okay, cool. Now let me address this part, which kills me. The late round pick or mid round pick. I was like you. I was like, oh, mid round pick. I'm thinking like third or fourth. Right. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, I'm excited. This is great. But then you think about it. It's a late second round pick. You might as well call it an early third. So it is, if you will, a mid-round pick if you want to look at it that way.
I guess.
The second round, and the second round pick is it's associated with such a premium pick, right? First round pick and second round pick. Bro, 60th pick. What are we doing, man? You getting DJ Moore at the 60th pick, like you said? Come on, man. What are we really talking about? And now you have a guy that he's already figured it out in the league. You're not having to hope he comes in and does it, right? We hoped our guy, you know what I'm saying? Our guy Keon Coleman would come in and get it off the rip. We've seen glimpses of great Keon Coleman, but like we're still kind of waiting for it. DJ Moore's been doing it. And this whole stigma of he's lost a step or he had a decline of a year, or I cannot understand people that think this way. Like you can't, you can't always have a phenomenal year. There's going to be a down year, right? There's teams that add certain things to your roster and you might have a down year. And I have a comparison to make with that, but I bring all this up. DJ Moore was the type of receiver the Bills needed. Someone that is he's acclimated to cold weather. He can play with a multitude of quarterbacks. He's been with a multiple amount of offensive coordinators. Bro, and he's now coming back to someone that he's familiar with, and he's about to play with the best quarterback he's ever played with. What are we talking about here? This is what I come to. Let me get to this point, so I need to get this on my chest real quick. It might be too early for me to jump this in, but I'm going to have to do it since we're talking about DJ Moore. Fans be talking about the decline. I've seen, and I'm not saying all fans are saying, I've seen a handful, more than a handful. I'm tripping. I've seen people say, well, hey, we got a 29-year-old on the decline. Randy Moss was, I believe, was 29 years of age. Randy Moss, the future, the Hall of Famer, Randy Moss was 29 years of age when Minnesota was like, I don't know, bro. His attitude is not there. You know what I'm saying? The mooning, the Green Bay Packers fans, that whole fiasco.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
You should suspend him. Get him out of here, right? 29 years of age, they felt, hey, man, there's something about him, man. He don't like football. He don't love football. So what do? They ship him to the Raiders. Ship him to die with the Raiders. And then he has a 3-year decline. Now he's 29 years of age. Ain't nobody looking at him. I was reading some articles from way back then. They was like, yo, could he be washed? He's had a decline. He's been declining the last 3 years. And he was like, the last year he was with the Raiders, he had 533 yards. And the year before that, I think he just barely got over 1,000. The year before that, it was not a great year. It was like 700 yards. So they were looking at Randy Moss like, oh, bro, this ain't it. And the freaking Patriots come in and grab him for a 4th-round pick. That's when you know, oh, boy. Woo, 4th-round pick? Yeah, that's a wrap. There, he's going to the Patriots. Bro, he came out, gave you 23 freaking receiving touchdowns. And what did it? He goes to a better run organization.
It was the greatest offense in the history of the league. The 2007.
Listen, New England Patriots. He balled out. So all I'm saying is, bro, all this decline talk. That's what they were saying. The same thing about Randy Moss, and he came in and did his business. Everybody's like, "Are you comparing Randy Moss to DJ Moore?" No,
I think it might be.
Yeah, you know that's what's going to happen. You're going to say that. Are you comparing a future Hall of Famer? No. What I'm trying to say is people jump the gun by saying, oh, he had an off year. It's a wrap. He's 29. It's a wrap. They said the same thing. They said the very same things about this guy. We knew he was a generational talent. This guy was legit. But they lambasted that brother. And he came in and showed you, oh, wait, I still got it. So DJ Moore is about to come to a new situation with a better quarterback, a system that he already knows. And right now, at 29, bro, you still in your prime, my man. The same way Josh Allen's still in his prime, this brother's still in his prime. He's got another 2 to 3 years of still being in that brother's prime, man. So this is that window that we were talking about. Oh, is this window shut? This window could be shutting. I don't know about these Bills. Nah, bro. This window is just as wide open. Now you got himself a wide receiver. And apparently, Brandon Beane ain't done. So whether he attacks it through free agency, which is about to start tomorrow, or he gets one in the draft, we're about to find out. But listen, all this DJ Moore chatter about, oh, he's like 29 years of age, and by the time he's done with his contract, he'll be 31. And what? We've seen ample receivers go out there and still bust ass when they go out there. Steve Smith was still 34, still getting busy. Come on, man. I don't want to try to hear all that. We good on that. So I like DJ Moore to the Bills. I think he's the right receiver, because sometimes you got to have the right piece, the right receiver. And I think he might be the right fit for the Bills and this offense. So kudos to the Bills on being aggressive and going to get one. And now they don't have to get into this fight. How much do you think Alec Pierce is going to get out there?
I'm seeing at least $24 million a year.
24 mil. Okay. AJ Brown right now. AJ Brown, what do you think they're going to give up if he is?
Well, so the Eagles were throwing out a first, second, and a player to the Patriots. Bam. That was rumored.
And I bet you Bills fans are probably, would you have given up a first?
No, see, that's a guy, I'm not trying to throw shade at AJ Brown, but I've often had a problem with this idea of me over we. And it always felt like they were winning games, and yet there wasn't any satisfaction on the offensive end of things because they weren't throwing the ball to win those games.
Right.
So I'm not saying that he's a selfish guy. I don't know that he is. It's just that I don't know if I want somebody that has constantly been seen as a sideshow in Philadelphia over the last couple of years, where you're wondering if he's happy or not. Like, we've gone down that road before. This DJ Moore, you're coming from a situation where I think you were on a rotation of mouths to feed, and now you are the mouth. I mean, it's like, listen, we just brought home a $40 KFC family bucket, and we're giving the whole damn thing to DJ Moore. Maybe we'll save a couple of sides of mashed potatoes for the tight ends and Shakir and whatnot, but you're getting the main course here. And this is why I think it's a little bit different too, because whoever you're going to be bringing in to fill this role is going to have a more substantial target share than anybody else would on the team. And so, we're talking about this decline of DJ Moore. DJ Moore's on the decline, right?
Right.
The only thing that declined in 2025 for DJ Moore was his target share. And the one thing that is going to go exponentially up with the Buffalo Bills is his target share. In 2019, DJ Moore had 135 targets. Every single year since then, going into 2025, he had 118 targets or more each and every season. And among those seasons, Rico, he had nearly 1,000 yards in every single one of them, but his last year in Carolina. So I have to think going to Buffalo, his target share in 2025 was roughly half of what it was the year prior. He went from 140 targets in 2024 to 85 in 2025. DJ Moore is going to have 125 targets on this Bills team without hesitation. And you know he will, because based on the track record we have with this guy, knock on wood, this guy stays on the field. He hasn't missed a game since 2020. Played in all 17 regular season games since 2021. So you're getting a guy that's shown you reliability, and you're getting a guy that's shown you when he is the focal point of the offense, he's an 1,100-yard receiver. The Bills are putting up nearly 30 points per game last year, where Khalil Shakir is dominating the target share on the way to over 700 yards. You imagine you get that same production from Khalil Shakir, which you can, by the way. You absolutely can get the same production from Khalil Shakir, because you're going to do the same things you did with Khalil Shakir this year while also adding this additional element. This is why I think that you had to have a guy like DJ Moore. You couldn't get another slot type guy. You needed to take the top off the defense type guy that at least threatens the back end of the D, so you can open up other things in the intermediate game. Look what they were able to do without even doing that. So if you're going to be able to get DJ Moore open down the field, I think Khalil Shakir has to be beyond thrilled to have a guy taking the pressure off of him. These tight ends, obviously Dalton Kincaid, everybody gets better here. You saw it in the brief stint with Amari Cooper. Like, everybody got better just because that guy was on the field. And at this point right now, DJ Moore, twice the receiver right before Amari Cooper literally retires. So that's really all we've seen, right? You bring Amari Cooper in, and everything changed just because there was one more guy out there. And they didn't even have that last year, Rico. That's the thing. They didn't even have an Amari Cooper last year, right? So you now have that to the nth degree, I think. I don't think you can really undersell how much better they're going to be just with this one addition. But to me, I think you elevate it tenfold if you continue to put your chips on this positional group this offseason. And what I mean by that is whether that's a free agency on the cheap here, a free agent move on the cheap here, or in the draft, which I really hope that they look into. Because I do think that this move goes from like a B plus, A minus to an A plus with an additional sidekick added to him in this offseason period here.
Did you say B plus? You give this this
I'm saying like whatever you view, like however people are at with it, with a B plus, A minus. I think you take it to an A plus if you do add additional guys with him going into the year. My point is, if this was the only thing they did at wide receiver, I think it would probably be a B plus.
And we talked about this because you said, DJ Moore being the only one, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's not really. I don't want to use the word moving the needle, but moving the needle for you enough, because it's like, it's great, but like,
it's moving the needle, but it's like how substantial of a needle move is it, right? You're already averaging 28 points per game. I think if you add one more guy with him, because I think it's one thing to add a guy, it's another thing to because we talked about being all in, aggressive. Like aggressive to me is like you're really reworking things in the wide receiver room, and that means you're adding more than just one guy.
I'll say this: Louis Riddick says something that I actually really love. I think it was a fire bar. And he goes, all this trading that's happening around the league is great. And it's the thing to do as a content creator and analyst or whomever you are that is creating content for news around the league. And Louis Riddick said it best, in my opinion. You haven't won a trade until you win because of the trade. Mm-hmm. All this means absolutely nothing unless the Bills can prove that, okay, we can win with this guy, right? A.J. Brown could be sent to the freaking Patriots, and it sounds great. But if they don't do diddly squat with it, then it means absolutely nothing. And like, I mean, I'm using the Patriots as an example, and they went to the Super Bowl last year. So it kind of gets to show you that anything can happen at any point, but like you got to win because of that individual. So DJ Moore coming to the Bills, I think is a start. And I think Brandon Beane understands that. And which is I have a question for you afterwards. But this whole situation is just, it doesn't put us in a desperation mode, right? By hitting DJ Moore now, it doesn't have you in free agency having to shoot. I gotta outbid that guy just to get I don't want to call it a mediocre player, but a player that should have never got that much money. So Brandon Beane kind of set himself aside and said, hey, second round pick, I'm gonna pay you because you're still a receiver one in this game and you're getting receiver one money. You're not elite like the elites of this game, but you're still a damn good receiver one in this game. So you're gonna get what you have. Now I can take a breather and really assess, because nothing worse than when you're in desperation mode and you have to make something happen in free agency and you don't have much of a plan. Right now, the Bills just kind of set themselves up with, if all else fails, we upgraded our room. On paper, that's what it looks like. But I don't think they're done, like you said. I think they continue, and we'll go from there. So my question now to you becomes, in terms of Brandon Beane, did Brandon Beane make this move out of desperation? Was this a desperation move, or was this a strategic clutch move for Brandon Beane? And and I'm going to add that. Do you think he felt the pressure to really make something happen based on how the year ended last year with the weapons that we had at the receiver room? Was there a desperation mode going into this offseason for him to hit early? And that goes for the chat.
There absolutely had to be some element of desperation in this. I'm trying to figure out how much I think was. To me, if we're talking about desperation being like, I was going to do whatever it takes to just get anybody, I don't think this was that. Because if that's the case, then I think that it wouldn't have happened the way that it did, where I think you do get a guy that really makes sense for Buffalo. Desperation to me would have been like retaking in Diggs here, or maybe a Tyreek Hill, right? That would feel like you're kind of grasping at straws for guys that I think maybe have shown you their best already. Now, do you wonder it happening when it did before free agency, giving up a little bit more than I think people felt comfortable with? That factors into it. I can't sit here and say this was a fully desperate move, because it was an inevitable move. So I think you can't confuse desperation with inevitability. This had to happen.
Yep.
So because it had to happen, I think you could argue any move Brandon Beane made would have been desperate, right? Because if you have to have something, oftentimes you desperately have to do what it takes to get that, right? So because of the situation Buffalo was in, I think that this could be skewed as a desperate move for Brandon Beane. I don't think it reeks of desperation. I do think it adds an element of pressure to the Buffalo Bills to have it work because of the amount of money paid. I will say that. Like, this isn't one of those moves where I think you can just overlook if it doesn't work out, right? When you do give up that second round pick, and this likely is your big move, and this is supposed to solve the wide receiver room, well, you might not get away as easily with Curtis Samuel not working out, or potentially Josh Palmer not working out. Like, this has to work. That's the thing here. So Brandon Beane knew he had to do something, and I think he knew he had to do it right. So I got to imagine he did his homework on making sure they got the guy that they felt was best for them. And I do think out of all of the potentially available receivers this offseason, this was one of your better options. I mean, would you have rather have paid that money to Alec Pierce? He hasn't proved what DJ Moore has proven. I feel like you could argue that maybe that would have been more of a desperate move, right? I feel like this move makes sense because you have numerous 1,000-yard years from DJ Moore. He's 2 years removed from his best season of his career. And the only reason the numbers were down last year is because his target share got sliced in half. So I don't look at this move, Rico, as desperate. I look at this move as inevitability. I think there's elements of the move that can be perceived as desperate. But once again, what did you want Brandon Beane to do? This is where it gets tough. It's almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like Brandon Beane would have had to have gotten Justin Jefferson, it feels like, in order for everyone to have collectively came together and say, thank you, Beane. Like all is right in the world now. But where I'll give him credit here, and you said it earlier, Louis Riddick's right. None of this means anything until they step on the field. So once again, if DJ Moore comes out in 2026 and he has 1,100 yards, 8 TDs, and 130 targets and 97 receptions, I don't think anybody's going to care about his guaranteed money in 2028. And I don't think anybody's going to care about giving up that 60th overall pick. Then again, though, if you come in and it's another roll of the dice at an older guy with a lot of money and it doesn't work out, well, then now you add that to the list here that I feel like this is why people are concerned in the first place. I don't think people are concerned about DJ Moore himself, Rico. I think people are more concerned about this idea that the Bills have kind of done stuff like this and it hasn't panned out. But I will say this is a bigger move than they've done in the past. This isn't just going out and getting Curtis Samuel at the end. This isn't just going out and getting, like, the Bills made a major move here, giving up a second rounder, taking on that guaranteed money. So I do think that this is, plus, the other thing too is you cannot forget the numbers this guy has put up. Like, is he Puka Nacua, Chase, Jefferson? No, but we've all agreed, I think, for the most part, that the Bills don't necessarily need that to win, but they needed better than what they had. And you're crazy if you don't think DJ Moore is instantly the best receiver on this team when he lands. And that's not just by default. It's because he is a damn good receiver. And now he's in Buffalo with Josh Allen. I mean, look what Khalil Shakir did last year without another guy. Look what Dalton Kincaid did when he was healthy. You can get that with the addition of what DJ Moore is capable of. This is going to be a heck of a move. So I don't think this is a desperate move by Beane, Rico. I think this was a move that had to happen. But how do you view it?
I view it I view it as the same way you see it. This is not to me, I don't look at it as desperation. That this was calculation. This was a calculated move. We need to make something happen now so I don't have that pressure on my shoulders to go out and get it. So who fits, what works, and how much are we willing to give up, right? We clearly see that first round pick, he wasn't willing to give that up because allegedly had Jalen Waddle for a first rounder, but they wanted a little bit more than that first rounder. Actually, they wanted this year's first rounder, allegedly. And he was like, nah, we ain't giving that up. So you knew that he was trying to get a value receiver and a value pick to go with it, and they needed it to match. And I think that second round was apropos because we talked about it. Nobody's giving up a Justin Jefferson, an A.J. Brown, who else is out there for a trade? Terry McLaurin or whomever, right, for peanuts. And I think that's what Bills fans were looking for, like a mid-round pick. Like, we got excited because we're like, whoa, we got DJ Moore for a mid-round pick. We even were surprised because that's not normal. And then when you found out that it was a second-round pick, you're like, okay. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Okay, it's a 60th pick. Okay, that makes sense. That checks. But we got excited because why? Because we felt that we gotta steal. Bro, there's not a whole lot of steals you can get early in this stage of free agency to go to boot. In the middle of the season, yes, because sometimes some guys are just trying to move on from somebody. I mean, look at Jacoby Myers. What did he go to the Raiders for? He left the Raiders for a fourth-round pick. You can get through that. Free agency, these are things where premiums become expensive. So was it a desperation move for Brandon Beane? No, this was calculated. He just needed to figure out. And once
again, they had to do it. The Bills didn't have the luxury of not doing something. They had to do it. Teams know this.
Just imagine that he didn't. And he sat on his hands. And we would have been that whole meme with the guy with the stick poking the buffalo saying, hey, man, you going to do something or what? You going to do something? We would have been sitting there just killing him. And now that we make a move, it was okay. It didn't move the needle. Or we can sit here and go after a 33-year-old Mike Evans that
right.
We know he's been productive his whole career. He had a down year, but people were still ready to say, man, I'll take Mike Evans anytime at 33. Even I was like that. I was like, shoot, if Mike Evans is available, I wouldn't mind it because I think he can still ball. But we got a guy that's 29, will be 29. We putting too much time on. He's 28 right now, man. He's gonna be 29 by the time the season starts. Bro, we good with this move, right? Or we can have a Mike Evans that we don't know if he's gonna break down and continue to break down. We have a guy that knows that he's proven, doesn't miss games, and he's ready to get active with an offensive coordinator that he's played with which had stats of in 2020, he had 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns, averaging 18 yards a pop. In 2021, 1,157, 12 yards a pop, 4 touchdowns. And this buddy had 163 targets. And who was throwing him the football? Sam Darnold?
Yeah, and in 2019 and 2020, he played 15 games, and he had those numbers.
Bro, Teddy Bridgewater was throwing him the football, and so was Sam Darnold. Come on, man. So, and now you got Josh Allen that's eager to throw the football. The second most targeted receiver on the Bills was Keon Coleman, and he missed 3 games. Bro, Josh is looking to give the ball up and find himself a guy that he can give high volumes to. It's not like he's not done it before. He's done it before. He's missed it. Now he wants it back. Now you got yourself a receiver that can go out and get it and is durable, that can make things happen. Bro, this was not a desperation move. This was a solid move for the Bills. And now it allows us to now recalibrate, and find out where you want to go. The rumor has it, brother wants to go get somebody else. Could you imagine if he goes out and convinces a Romeo Dobbs to come over and go, we got something special going on. Yo, you want to do it? Because Josh is ready. He's hungry. He wants one. You know what I'm saying? You coming from another cold climate. Yo, nothing going to change, man. Come out here to Buffalo. Who knows? Who knows where they are? Or they go the route of getting Boston or getting Fragile, or whatever they pronounce his name out in college. Yo, but the opportunities are there. So now it's a matter of refocusing. Do we focus on defense? Because free agency is going to be huge, man. Hendrickson's out there. There's a whole lot of things that can happen right now. One thing we don't have to worry about is the receiver room, and we're set with it. So I'm good with it. No desperation, calculation, good on being for this one.
I'm seeing, a lot of he's a wide receiver too. I'm also seeing the Bears fleece the Bills.
What constitutes a wide receiver too?
Well, so this is what I think constitutes a wide receiver too. When you're not JSN, Puka, Jamar Chase, or Justin Jefferson, you're a wide receiver too. Everybody else views you as that. Yeah. And I think that's the perception. But here's the thing, though. We've talked about this. We've always felt that the Bills could get by with really good wide receiver twos together. This is why I think this already is a major addition to this room. Josh Allen had nearly 40 touchdowns yet again a season ago with the rushing title winner, and they had what was argued as the worst wide receiver core in the NFL. Regardless of what you think DJ Moore is.
Isn't that crazy?
He's already the best receiver on the team instantly. They averaged nearly 30 points per game last year, and Josh Allen once again had nearly 40 touchdowns. He was 31 touchdown shy.
Right.
Regardless of what you think of Moore, whether he's this bona fide wide receiver one like the guys I just mentioned, whether you think the Bears fleeced him, do I think the Bears maybe got out on the better end here because they wanted to get rid of DJ Moore? They felt like they didn't need him based on who they already have. They wanted to clear up cap space. Could you argue the Bears won this trade? I think you could. But then again, I think you could argue that the Bills got what they wanted as well. And we've often said that when you make a trade, more often than not, a good trade is looked at as two teams walking away thinking that they could have gotten more, but they're also satisfied with what they got. I feel like the Bills feel like they probably could have given up a little bit less. And I do feel like the Bears feel like they probably got a little bit more. So for that reason, I feel like the Bears probably view this as a trade that they won. But the Bills win this trade on their end as well, because at the end of the day, they got what they needed. Once again, we've talked about kicking the can down the road and moving financials and moving picks. It's because all that matters is right now. And you said it, Rico. If Bean were to have sat on his hands yet again, and the only move was a second-round wide receiver, or maybe the only move was Rashid Shaheed or whatever, I don't think that was going to be enough. So I don't think you can fault Bean here for maybe getting a little bit more, maybe taking on a little bit more than people are comfortable with, because they had to do something. And I think of all the guys available, did you want the Bills to give up a first, second, and a player for A.J. Brown? I think that's a little bit too much. I think what you got in DJ Moore was probably worth what you gave up compared to what you would have gotten out of A.J. Brown for your first and the second they just gave up and a player as well. Where I take this trade to an A is if they add another wide receiver, because I do think that even if you think DJ Moore is a high-end wide receiver too, well, if they can get another good wide receiver too in many people's eyes, well, then you go from an offense that was averaging nearly 30 without any wide receiver twos.
Thank you.
And now you got a room of guys where I feel like everybody looks at it and says, yeah, you compare this to the year prior and it's infinitely better. And they're already well on their way towards doing that.
The Bills have an opportunity to go from worst or damn near bottom of the league. I don't know if there was a receiver room as bad or as challenged as the Bills were. I mean, there were some bad ones out there, but I think the Bills were one of the most challenged teams. By adding DJ Moore, they're right in the middle of the pack right now. You add one more player, we can go to one of the better receiving tandems in the game by adding the right piece. So just like this, from a flip of a switch, and they just raised the ceiling with DJ Moore. DJ Moore's addition to this receiver room has raised the ceiling. And let's not forget, we didn't even bring up Kincaid in this whole mix of things. So you got DJ Moore, you got Khalil Shakir that you know is a bona fide, you know he's going to get open. So just those 3 targets alone, you know you're in the positive. You're in the very much positive. So kudos to Brandon Beane for now. He's got a lot more to do, but he's on the right track. I think we can both agree he's on the right track, and away we go. Because right now, we are going to be going like this, going, they gave what for A.J. Brown? They paid Alec Pierce how much? If Romeo Doubs goes somewhere else, he's getting, what, $23 million a year? Bro, you know this is where people are going to get money. They're going to get paid. So I'm looking forward to seeing who gets what. And I think by the time the dust is all settled, people are going to look at this and be like, you know what? The Bills actually came out on top on this. I think they did all right because we were losing our minds when we gave Ed Oliver that deal. And then once you found out how he produced and almost got 10 sacks that year, we're like, man, that was worth every $15 million. That was worth every dime. And we're still thinking that to this day. So, and I tell this to my man Sean that's watching right now, calmate, calm down, everybody. He's going to be all right. Wait till you start seeing these deals start flying tomorrow. You're going to be like, whoa, let's find out. Listen, BTG, Brian Thomas Jr. out in Jacksonville, they made, whether this was true or not, they made him available potentially. And then now like, oh, we're going to try to work it out. We're going to keep him. He's definitely on the block. So that'll be interesting to see where he goes and what they give up for him. So I think that second round pick is going to be just fine with me.
The only way Bills fans collectively would have been stoked with how Brandon Beane navigated the wide receiver position is if he gave up every one of their assets to get a Justin Jefferson. And even then, I think you would have had people complaining that it was too much for one guy. Really, always. The only way I think everybody would have been on board would be if they drafted somebody in the draft and he instantly became a top guy. That's the only way anybody would have been satisfied because you didn't give up anything. You drafted him and he became an instant success. That is a massive, massive gamble that we have no track record at all of backing up the idea that it would have worked. So with that said, the only option was to do what Brandon Beane did. And with that, you were going to have to likely give up a bit more than you were comfortable with. And I completely understand why people aren't 100% comfortable with this. This is why it will only make sense when it works out. And to me, that doesn't mean that he's got to become the best receiver in the NFL. To me, it means he needs to become Josh Allen's top guy. And
right.
I think he has to be 1,000-yard receiver, Rico, for it to work out, though. I do. I think in order for this to make full sense, I think he has to be 1,000-yard receiver. Based on his track record, I have no reason to believe that he's not capable of doing that with Josh Allen.
Well, here's the thing. If he may become a 1,000-yard receiver. Let's just say he doesn't become a 1,000-yard receiver and we're a 14-0 team and we're blowing teams out and they got to sit him down and put the ball cap on him. You know what I'm saying? So like, would I love it to happen that way? Cool. But at the amount of times that we had to sit Josh Allen last year, where we were up by much, and like, yo, put the ball cap on, let Mr. Trubisky get in there, right? There's a lot of those things that happen. One more thing that I wanted to bring up, and this receiver 2 talk of Mr. DJ Moore. DJ Moore has never in his career been receiver 2. So all of a sudden, he's receiver 2 when he comes to the Bills.
Once again, Rico, it's just because he's not one of those top 5 guys. And anybody beyond that is considered to be a 2 to everybody.
It's ridiculous. Y'all need to stop this receiver 2 nonsense. He was their receiver 1 on the Bears last year with the young Burden, with the young, Roma Dunze. Bro, it was Lovelace, young
you had
friend.
Right, you had Loveland, Adunze, you had Bird. Like, if you don't think he's a wide receiver 1, maybe he would. Okay, would he be a wide receiver 1 on Cincinnati or LA or Minnesota? No. If you don't think he's a wide receiver in Buffalo, though, then I don't know what to tell you. Get that. He is. He 100% is.
Let's play the game. I just want to just a quick little game. We're just gonna do something here real quick. All right. So if I'm gonna just name you a team and you tell me wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2. All right. We're just gonna play the game. Miami.
I think he'd be 2 behind Waddle.
You think Waddle's better than him?
I think if you're talking about who you'd rather have in the trade market, then I think you'd probably would have rather have had Waddle.
If he goes on to the Miami Dolphins right now, is he wide receiver 1? And
I think there's an argument there. So whatever. Okay. The argument with Waddle for 1.
Okay, let's go. Baltimore.
1.
Cleveland.
1.
Pittsburgh.
Based on what DK did last year, yeah, probably 1.
New York.
Which one?
It doesn't matter.
Well, he wouldn't be number 1 over Neighbors. And I like Garrett Wilson, but I don't even know. Would it matter in New York? I don't think it even matters. So with the Jets, I don't think it would matter because it just doesn't matter. They have no pass game.
Here's a tough one. Washington.
He could be. He could be number 1 in Washington.
Okay. San Fran.
Probably not.
You say he's not receiver 1?
Well, okay, so let's think about it. You got Ayuk's going to be gone. You got
Forget
Pearsall.
about Ayuk. Ayuk didn't even play a snap. He's not playing. So you're going with Juwan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, Ricky Parcell. Come on.
There's an argument for him. There's definitely an argument for 1.
He's 1. There's no argument. He is 1. All right. I'll give you a few more and then we'll call it a day because so far we've named him as receiver 1 for each one of those teams. Let me just give you a couple more and we'll call it a day. Let's go Jacksonville.
No.
He's not receiver 1?
No, I don't think he's receiver 1 in Jacksonville.
Who's better than him in Jacksonville?
Parker Washington was incredible towards the end of the year. I think he's their wide receiver 1 right now.
And you think that he'd be the wide receiver 1 over DJ Moore? I disagree.
I disagree.
He goes over the Jacksonville. He's instantly number 1. Las Vegas Raiders, number 1. You bring him to Denver. Now you have an argument because Courtland Sutton. I like Courtland Sutton. I'm a big fan of Courtland Sutton, but you know what I'm saying? And most people see Courtland Sutton as receiver 1. DJ Moore is receiver 1. It puts to bed. I don't want to hear this nonsense about he's a receiver 2. Cut it out. It's the most ridiculous conversation that people are having right now. Knock it off. Right? Damn near 75% of the league, if he goes on that squad, he's receiver 1. Let's be real. Right? So, and some people say, hey, Waddle's better. I don't know. Is he? That's what I say. Anyway.
I just think you have to look at it from the Bills' perspective and not the outside perspective. This already elevates the Bills' wide receiver room far beyond what it was just a season ago. We can talk about other teams all we want. I do think a lot of the teams you just listed, I think that there is an argument that DJ Moore could be the wide receiver 1 on that team. With the Bills, however, there is no argument. He is.
Correct.
He is. And I think that it's better than just a pseudo wide receiver 1. He has a track record that allows you to believe in the idea that he will come in and be like 25 to 30% better than anything anyone else gave the Bills last year. You go and look at those numbers beyond Khalil Shakir. You had quite literally non-existent production at wide receiver. Even DJ Moore's down year in 2025 that everybody wants to tell you was not a great year would have been literally it would have been better than anything not named Khalil Shakir last year. And it would have been twice as good because I'll tell you right now, DJ Moore would not have gotten 85 targets in Buffalo a season ago. Not a chance in hell.
You don't think he would have got 85 targets in Buffalo?
No, he would have gotten 130. So the numbers would not have been what they were. Like you can't, there's no chance. Like that's the thing. Like this is what I'm getting at.
Right.
Like I get it. I do get it. Like I do understand that it doesn't move the needle for those people that have the idea in mind. Like I wanted Justin Jefferson as much as anybody. Believe me, who the hell wouldn't? But like the idea of the reality behind that was really no reality at all. This was reality. And I think if we're in our current reality and we are honest with ourselves and we say, what's the best thing the Bills could do in this reality? I'd open it up to the chat, but in this reality, I really would like to hear what would be better for Buffalo at wide receiver right now. Where I do think it gets better, once again, I'll add, is if this is not the only, hey, we did it. Hey, we took care of wide receiver. We're done now. It becomes a far better move if Bean is not done at the position.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And we will put a button in the receiver talk because we got to go into beloved Buffalo Bill, nickel cornerback, Taron Johnson, your boy. How are you feeling on the Bills making a decision? It seems as though it was a tough decision to make, but a decision nonetheless that I think needed to be made. Taron Johnson being released and given the opportunity to land with a team and allow himself to, make some money. Your thoughts on the Bills no longer having the services of our 8-year corner, Taron Johnson?
So I think that this was inevitable when the Bills were changing direction at defensive coordinator. As soon as you hired Jim Leonard and you realized that the nickel was not going to be as much of a part of the Bills' game plan defensively as it was obviously under McDermott, I think you immediately went to Taron Johnson and considered him to be a guy the Bills could move off of. Not only because I feel like there's going to be less room for him on the defense, but I also feel like people were viewing him as a player that was not living up to the contract that he had signed. I think people looked at that particular player as one that was on the bit of a decline here, factoring in that you wouldn't get as much utilization out of him as you were going to get under McDermott. It makes sense. And I feel like the reason why this makes sense is because this was not a move that freed up the Bills a ton of room financially. It really didn't free up much room at all. So the reason the Bills wound up moving off of Taron Johnson is because of him simply not being what the Bills are going to be in need of under Jim Leonard with this defense. I feel like that's really all it comes down to here, Rico. In terms of what Taron Johnson was, though, for Buffalo, he has one of the most iconic moments in Bills history. That pick six against the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round, COVID year. It will be remembered forever. I mean, that will live in infamy. One of my all-time favorite Bill moments. One of those guys where I feel like when he came on the scene, you didn't know anything about him, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, this dude is damn good. I mean, you just had Aaron Rodgers waxing poetically about how great he is and how tough he is to go against. So I think this just goes to show you we are about to see a very different Buffalo Bills defense this upcoming year. We will find out how different that defense is and how much better it is as a result. But I think this move off of Taron Johnson immediately signals to all of us that a new era of Bills defense is on the horizon. And them moving off of Taron Johnson, I think pretty much shows you they're not going to be doing a lot of the same things that we're accustomed to watching them do on a weekly basis.
I listen, I'm with you, man. I think at the end of the day, it was a necessary move. And it's a respect thing. And that's two things that I wanted to touch on here. I love the fact that they gave him the opportunity to go and seek something early. They didn't hold on to him. They didn't waver and like, well, maybe we can see how he looks in camp. And then if it works out, the transition, the safety works out, then maybe we keep him. But if he doesn't pan out and we cut him, we didn't give him a great opportunity. He's been here 8 years. Give him the respect of having him go and seek out somewhere that he can, continue his career. And then we can just get rid of his cap for next year, just get rid of it this year and call it a day. Would I've liked to see the Bills save a little bit more money by cutting him post-June. They didn't make him a designated post-June cut, which would have saved them a lot more. They decided to just say, you know what, away we go. I know that was a big confusion. I had to be clarified by Sal Capaccio because I was like, why wouldn't they just wait till June and hold on to him? I thought they had to hold on and designate him either a pre or post cut, June 1st cut. And the Bills never designated him as the post-June cut. So they just said, yo, let's just cut our ties, let him go do his thing, and we'd have been great. But the Bills get to use the money immediately now that they let him go. Because had they waited till June 1st, they would have had to wait and sit on that money that they would have saved, that $8.67 million. So they're like, money later or money now. But you took less money now. So that's the financial ramifications for Mr. Taron Johnson. But that being said, man, like you mentioned, that infamous interception by Taron Johnson, that'll be embedded in our mind. And And honestly, truth be told, Lamar Jackson's always going to remember that. Always going to remember that because that has kept that brother. I mean, what is he? What's his record in the playoffs? Not great, right? So that has kept that brother, you know what I'm saying, awake at night, watching that interception take it back to the house, and they eventually lose the game. And I think he even got concussed on that very play. So tough break for my man, but Taron Johnson will be missed. And I'll tell you, man, Taron was early in his career, dude, tone setter, bro. We could stay in nickel defense, and you have to respect the Bills for staying in nickel defense. No matter what you're going to do, we're going to stay in nickel defense because this guy right here is the difference maker. And he leaves a whole new defense coming to Buffalo. It's going to be interesting. And Taron gets a chance to go and continue his career. Interesting to see where he goes. It wouldn't surprise me if Patriots are like, yo, come on through, man. We got Gonzalez. We can bring you over here. No, that'd be good. Or you might go Miami. I mean, who knows where that brother's going to go, right? So, he's going to be going to a contender. Baltimore, I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore was like, yo, come on over. Kyle Hamilton, I got Maxx Crosby, which we'll touch on a little bit. But listen, Taron Johnson, he'll be missed. A good player, solid player, all-pro second team. I mean, he did his thing, man. But we also saw there's some moments. There were some moments where you're like, ooh, that Taron Johnson again? Damn, was that a defensive hold? Shoot, who got run over? Damn, who took that bad angle? There was a few of those. There were a few of those. I mean, along with other teammates of his. But nonetheless, great career in Buffalo. Kudos to Brandon Beane. We always poo-poo on Brandon Beane for, not drafting good players, bro. That's Brandon Beane right there, man. Brandon Beane came through, got himself one, and away we go. So kudos to our guy Taron. Good luck. I don't know where he's going to end up. It's going to be interesting. Shoot, the money that the Raiders have, you might see him over there in Las Vegas. So we'll see how that all shakes out for our guy Taron Johnson. So big on Taron. Kudos to him, and we'll see where he ends up. Speaking of moves that the Bills have made, obviously Taron Johnson was released. Dane Jackson was released because he had to be added to the active roster last year, so they had to move on from him. Curtis Samuel gone. Any words on Curtis Samuel? Not a whole lot.
$400,000 a catch.
Done. That's all I gotta say. That's what highway robbery. Taylor Rapp released. I think Taylor Rapp I think he knew it was a wrap for him the minute they put him on injured reserve. They put him on injured reserve at very early. He got hurt with a calf. They said, yo, you're done. And I knew it was over. He ain't coming back. So there he is. And then we trade for DJ Moore. And one thing that I do want to touch on is the offensive line.
Come on.
Talk to me because let me jump on this one. I did not see Connor McGovern nor David Edwards coming back to Buffalo because I just felt financially you're trying to move on. Did it hurt in terms of two gaping holes in your offensive line, and now you got to fill that up with guys that are somewhat unknown, which is true. But we did the same thing when Mitch Morse left. We said Mitch Morse, that's going to be a big piece to kind of fill. All right, get McGovern in there. McGovern held it down and did a great thing. And then the Bills not talking to him, apparently coming from him saying, hey, man, they haven't talked to me all offseason. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it looks like I'm going to be going somewhere else. And all of a sudden the Bills give him a $13 a year deal, $32 million guaranteed, $52 million. Connor McGovern returns to Buffalo as the center. So what in the heck happens to Cedric Van Pran Granger?
Right.
You sit him on the sideline. He's marinating. And now you're like, okay, so I guess I wasn't the succession plan. Oh, there's baby girl.
Oh, look at Zoe. Girl. Zoe could be the succession plan at guard. Because I'm telling you right now, she's already doubled in size, double doughy. She is literally doubled the weight of the day she was born. So I know David Edwards, he's going to hit free agency. Zoe could be part of free agency frenzy.
Watch out.
It could be signed. But she is stoked about having Connor McGovern back as a Buffalo Bill. And I think we all are. Zoe, you want to say anything? I hear you, girl. She just got back from her first vacation ever. Went on a plane for the first time, and we got a compliment on the way there. And we got a compliment on the way back for how good she was. She takes after her father. Very well behaved. Very quiet, right? Very respectful. So we're very proud of her.
Good
and
for
she
you
just
guys.
wanted to say hello. Right,
That's
Zoe?
the best thing to do, by the way, is to take them while they're young. We took our middle while she was 6 months. We're like, yo, you're coming with. And
yeah,
not a peep.
It was great. It was great. She was so good. She was as good as she was right now, right? All right.
Look at
Papa I think
it's
nap time. I know.
Look at this Papa Bot over here.
She's almost ready for her nap. Her long
microphone to being a father. Look at this guy. I love it.
I
love it.
How about, okay, so you know what, with Brandon Beane, we've talked about this, and this is where I've always given him credit for as much flack as he's gotten recently, deservingly so. The one thing the guy's really damn good at, keeping guys in Buffalo that feel as though they're going to command a larger contract elsewhere. So McGovern, it felt just a couple of days ago like him and David Edwards were going to be gone. I was starting to come around to that being the conclusion. Facts. I'm starting to get ready to see what Cedric Van Prank Ranger is going to be at center. What's going to happen? Well, it's probably going to be Alec Anderson at guard. Like, this is going to be a new offensive line for Buffalo. The fact that he not only is being retained by Buffalo, but after Linderbaum ends up getting a contract from whoever this upcoming week, whether it be Baltimore or a few other teams in the mix.
Yep.
McGovern's going to wind up being the fourth highest paid center in the NFL. So right now you got Creed Humphrey at 18 mil. Linderbaum's going to be at that or more. McGovern's market, it was looking as though he was going to test that high end, that 18 mil range, 16 maybe, right? The Bills are getting him for $13 million on average. This is where there's one element of Brandon Beane's bag that I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for. And that is this particular type of signing where you have guys in the building that you want to keep. You can't overextend on keeping them. And yet you find a way to keep them in the building for less than what you thought they were going to get leaving the building. McGovern for $13 million, you got to be thrilled about this.
Absolutely.
Because you're keeping Josh Allen center, which I think can't be understated, because this is an offensive line that's one of the league's best. You're already going to be losing a top guard. Losing a center on top of that, I was coming around to it because I felt like it was going to be inevitable. But Rico, I got to be honest, I was nervous about this idea of the Bills' offensive line being this different after not being changed at all after multiple years in a row. This gives you, I think this allows you to breathe a sigh of relief. The fact that you're also getting him for less than market value and you're getting him for 4 years, absolutely love the move. Tip of the cap to Brandon Beane for getting this done. I mean, it was talked about a couple of days ago that it was essentially a foregone conclusion he'd be gone, because I believe it was Tim Graham who said that the Bills haven't even reached out to him. And this was confirmed, by the way. Tim Graham spoke to McGovern himself. This just goes to show you how odd these situations are. Like, even the players don't know what's going on. Sometimes I feel like the players find out this information when we find it out. Just goes to show you how wild it is. But I couldn't be more thrilled about this, Rico. Not only to be keeping McGovern, but to have gotten him for what they wound up getting him for. Well done by Brandon Beane.
Well done by Brandon Beane for another reason as well. Whether you want to call it a tactic, where it's a way of pulling on the heartstrings of a player somewhat, because, hey, man, we're not going to talk to him. We're going to kind of, imply that we're not going to bring him around. Allow him to go and see what is out there. And if the market isn't saying as much and he's already comfortable, he already knows the system. He knows, bro, him and Josh Allen seem like they're pretty damn close. Why would I want to leave for that much less or more when I could just stay here and let's work something out? It reminds me of the James Cook situation, right? James wanted something. The Bills side had something else, and then they kind of found that actually, I think James Cook got what he wanted, period, right? So with McGovern, market value was saying 16. Apparently, the Bills were looking at around the 10-ish mark, which is absolutely wild to me, and he was wanting around the 15 mark. So I guess it looks like they met right in the middle. Why go elsewhere? Listen, man, a few $1 million is the difference, man. Let's sign this thing right now. Big on Beane. Pulled on the heartstrings a little bit, and the city of Buffalo has definitely pulled on the heartstrings of my man's, and he's coming back, and now we don't have to worry about the center position, which is a key position, which makes me then go back to Granger. One issue that I have is, like, when McGovern was out last year, it wasn't Granger that went in at center, it was Alec Anderson. So it always made me scratch my head a little bit. So maybe just they felt just not good enough, or why rock the boat? Like you said, listen, we have the sure thing. We got one of the best centers in the game, the top 5, bro. We're gonna leave him right here, leave him right where he's at, and keep it rolling. But then it makes me now question, what's up with Granger? Then are they just is he and Alec Anderson going to compete for left guard? Because now that position is wide open. David Edwards certainly isn't going to come back. So now it becomes a fight at left guard. And who do you bring in as a free agent? Is it a 3-man fight for left guard, or is it Alec Anderson that's going to be going left? So it'll be, I'm fascinated by that, but I love the fact that McGovern's coming back. So kudos to Brandon Beane. You found a way to bring your own guy back, which is nice. And you didn't break the bank. That's the beautiful part about this. You did not break the bank. And now we got ourselves one hole to fix rather than 2. So good on Bean. Love what I'm seeing, and we'll keep it rolling.
Yeah, if they thought that Van Pran Granger was the immediate successor, you wouldn't have saw this deal get done. Now it makes you wonder what the plan is there. But continuity on the offensive line might be more important than any other area on the field. The Bills, I can't overstate how uneasy I would have felt going into the year with 2 cogs of that machine now gone. Not just any machine, but a machine that has helped result in an MVP and a rushing title winner in back-to-back years. This would have been, I think, an underrated storyline, Rico, going into 2026 that might have hit you in like week 7, where you're like, man, I know we were worried about elements of the defense, and I know we were worried about the wide receiver room, but man, like Josh is not getting as much time as we're used to. Like, this is what I was worried about. Mm-hmm. Losing both those guys would have definitely had an impact on this team to some degree. I still think losing David Edwards will have some impact.
For sure.
But losing both, I mean, it's not even comparable. When you also factor in the ability to get him for less than what he would have gotten elsewhere, love it. It's the one thing that Bean does consistently that you have got to just tip your cap at. This has happened numerous times where you are able to keep guys in Buffalo that definitely would have gotten more money elsewhere. So, you know, I know there's nothing sexy about a 4-year extension for a center. You know, people can't even get excited about DJ Moore coming to Buffalo. You think they're going to get ecstatic about a 4-year extension for a center? No. But he's one of the best centers in the NFL. And you cannot let guys like that walk for nothing. The fact that you didn't let him walk, but you retained him for what will likely be the 4th highest paid center when he would have likely have gotten maybe highest paid center or near that type money elsewhere. Hell of a move getting that done before he was able to hit free agency.
There's no question. I feel like the Bills have definitely maximized their ability to retain their players. And right now we're playing out on Bean is on right now. He's sitting on max level right now. So he's waiting on he's waiting on his next maximum move. So
well, you know what? You just said a word. You said a word. Yeah, you said a word. Maximum max. Man, that had me thinking about a maximum move made out in the DMV. That had me thinking about a maximum move made by an arch rival of the Buffalo Bills. It had me thinking about a maximum move made by the Purple People Eaters out in Baltimore. Maxx Crosby, they dealt him.
Oh, boy.
But they dealt him to a team that I don't think we saw coming. And I can't wait to talk about this as we transition from the moves the Bills have just made over the recent days here to what was the biggest move of the offseason. And unless we see something else insane happening, I think this will end up being the biggest move of the 2026 offseason. Maxx Crosby goes from the Las Vegas Raiders to the Baltimore Ravens. He now joins the AFC North that has Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, now Maxx Crosby, and it wasn't cheap. 2 first-round picks given up by the Baltimore Ravens to acquire Maxx Crosby. This is a guy that you and I both, Rico, said we would have traded for before Justin Jefferson. You weren't even convinced that Justin Jefferson was available for trade. Well, Maxx Crosby was, and he winds up going not just anywhere, but to the Baltimore Ravens, who have long felt like a team like Buffalo, where they're just a play away or they're just a player away.
Yep.
They now go and get the Lamar Jackson of their defense.
Jeez. What
do you make of this move? Because when I first saw it, man, did it make me sick.
I'll tell you this. It's a copycat league, man. When one competitor makes a move, the Buffalo Bills going after, obviously, DJ Moore, Baltimore was on the clock. They needed to do something to try to kind of silence, you know what I'm saying, the buzz that was going around the league with the Bills and DJ Moore. And the Raiders, they made it feel like Max ain't going anywhere. We're going to hold on to him. But then you start hearing all these things about, Tom Brady's guy, his trainer's all up in our business and doing things. So ruffling of the feathers. And I think the biggest feather ruffler was last year when there was 2 games to go and they benched him for the last 2 games of the season and he had 10 sacks, and that would have got him to the potential big bonus that he would have received. And now he is now on the Baltimore freaking Ravens with Kyle Hamilton, Matabuke, you know what I'm saying, Wiggins out there with a new coach, Jesse Minter. Listen, it's a great move. You have to do it. They didn't have a pass rush. They had no pass rush, and you saw it near the end of the season where things just unraveled and teams were just doing what they needed to do. Now they get themselves a big-time pass rush. So 2 questions for you before we start going back and forth. The biggest one is, did the Ravens overpay? Did the Ravens overpay for Maxx Crosby by giving up not only 1 first round, but 2 first round picks? Something that the Ravens haven't done in forever. I think they've never done it. They've never done it.
They have never in their franchise history traded a first round pick for a player.
So we want to talk about desperation.
Dude, I saw someone who covers the Ravens say that he thought there was a better chance of the sun rising on the West Coast than there was the Ravens giving up this pick for Maxx Crosby.
Talk about desperation with this move right here. This is not a typical Ravens move. So Bills, we were talking about, were the Bills desperate in making the DJ? No, this screams desperation. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the game. One of the best dual threat runner. I mean, him and Josh Allen are neck and neck, but that boy is just, Lamar Jackson is something different. That boy different. They've always historically had great defenses. And then they've faltered a little bit. And then they bring in Maxx Crosby. Is that the move? Is that the move that the Ravens needed to get them over the hump? Is that what they've been missing? I'm curious. I want your thoughts on this because I don't know if that was the move that the Ravens needed to make, but it was definitely something that they felt that was a necessity. Your thoughts, Maxx Crosby over to the Ravens. There's some jokes going on about that. That's hilarious.
Man, this is an interesting one. To me, this is what aggressive is. This is the definition of aggressive. You and I had a debate about what does aggressive really mean. It means this. This is what aggressive looks like. When you get aggressive, however, that doesn't mean you're making the smartest move of all time. Mm-hmm. You're making an aggressive move. Once again, the only way an aggressive move ends up being an intelligent move is if that aggressive move ends up moving the needle. But at the very minimum, I think regardless of what happens, you can look back and say at the time, Maxx Crosby was the best available defensive edge rush, the best available edge rusher in the moment. We have Lamar Jackson going into year 9. We just had a step back last year. Didn't make the playoffs. Had to fire our head coach, the second longest tenured head coach in the NFL. We got to make a move if we want to capitalize on the era of having a 2-time MVP as our quarterback. I cannot fault the Baltimore Ravens for doing this. Is 2 first-round picks an overpay? You can certainly argue that it is. But the Green Bay Packers gave up 2 first-round picks to acquire Micah Parsons, and they were rolling before he got hurt. This is the cost of doing business. Is it an overpay to get a top edge rusher? The answer is no. This is the cost. Micah Parsons sets that market. Now, is Micah Parsons better than Max Crosby? I think that there's certainly the argument for that. But it doesn't matter. It's like the quarterback market. Is Josh Allen better than Tua? Sure. But is your next guy available in Miami better than Tua? Well, no. Is your next guy available in Jacksonville or San Francisco better than what you got right now? Well, no. Well, you're going to have to pay for what you got right now then if you want to keep what you have right now. And if you want to go and get something similar to the top of the league or what you view to be the top of the league, you got to pay top of the market price. And Micah Parsons set that market when the Packers traded the Cowboys 2 first-round picks. So if we're thinking of this as an overpay, I think you could argue that anytime you give up 2 first-round picks, it could be considered an overpay. But what have the LA Rams done consistently, and what did they just do yet again? Give up a first-round pick for a proven top-level player. And the Rams have been one of the best teams in the NFL ever since Sean McVay has been the head coach. You think they give a damn that they haven't had a first-round pick in nearly a decade? I guarantee you they don't.
Yep.
I guarantee you they don't. And will the Ravens give a damn if they don't have a first-round pick this year or next year, if they wind up catapulting up towards the top of the AFC and becoming the best team in the league as a result? Absolutely not. Is it risky? Of course it is. Anytime you give up this much capital, you're taking on a major risk. But I got to give them credit, Rico, because they're not going to look back and say, maybe they look back and regret it, but the one thing that they won't look back and say is, we didn't do what we thought it took to get it done with what we view to be one of the best quarterbacks of all time. They went out and did what they felt had to be done to capitalize on the moment. I got to give them credit. You could easily look back and this could be disastrous. I mean, it absolutely could. But it's amazing that they were able to do it. We've long heard that in Buffalo, it's hard to do certain things because of what you're paying your quarterback. Hard to go out and get a big ticket item every year when you're paying your quarterback. Baltimore Ravens ain't paying Lamar Jackson in peanuts. They're not paying him in monopoly money. And Lamar Jackson is making a hefty, hefty bag. Yet they went out and they got what was viewed to be perhaps the best defensive player available in a move. So I got to give credit to Baltimore. The question now is, how much better does this make them? Do they now rise up the ranks, and are they viewed back to being what they were before last year? Because the Ravens did take a noticeable step down last year. And I see a lot, and I'll be honest here, been seeing a lot of coping by Bills fans, and I don't love it. Been seeing a lot of coping. Oh, well, would never have given up 2 firsts, or, oh, that much for a guy that has, they're pulling up metrics you've never seen before. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you mean to tell me if that same notification flashed on your screen, but you swap out the word Ravens for the word Bills, that you'd be saying the same thing you're saying right now? And the answer is a resounding no. You would have been as hyped as you've ever been about any move the Bills have ever made in the history of the franchise. Just because you went to Baltimore doesn't mean that Max Crosby is washed and that the Ravens overpaid and this is a disaster. I think if anything, you saying that tells me there's a little bit of fear in what you just saw go down. Because if the Bills got Max Crosby, you would know every other team in the league would be scared of the fact that the Bills just got their Josh Allen equivalent on defense. I will sit here as a level-headed Bills fan and tell you the Baltimore Ravens acquiring Maxx Crosby is a problem. And that is a massive, massive move. I can't be a hypocrite, Rico. I've come on here 1,000 times. I don't care about the picks. Get rid of the picks. Go get the guys. And that's what Baltimore just did. And I'll give them credit for it.
And I'm going to double down on you and say, and answer the question in the title. Did the Ravens surpass the Bills? And with this move with Maxx Crosby, I don't care how old, because people talk about, you talked about earlier about 2 first-round picks for a defender. Well, Michael Parsons is 26. So some folks might say you can get away with that. 26 years of age. You've got a Maxx Crosby on some folks are saying on a decline off of an injury, 29 years of age, and they gave him 2 first-round picks. But it's not about the picks. It's about the guy that you feel can make the difference on your team. And right now, I feel the as of right now, the Ravens have surpassed the Bills in terms of what they've done acquiring a difference maker for their defense, because Maxx Crosby is a heck of a player. There's no and ifs, buts. That's a premium. To get an edge rusher like that is a premium. You go out and you pay for that premium. Like you said, if the Bills went out got there, boy, we would be whooping all over the place, right? So huge deal for the Ravens. I think they've surpassed the Bills and now it's ping pong now, boy. It's ping pong. What, Bills, you're up next. What you got? Right? We need to see how you're going to match that, because we need now to bring that defense. We have a new defense in town. We got to make sure we got the right pieces for that. By the way, breaking news, Trent McDuffie got himself a massive bag. 4-year deal for Trent McDuffie. Got an extension by the LA Rams. For crying out loud, where the Rams getting the money?
And this is what, and just back to what we talked about last show, this idea, you know, when you're paying your quarterback, and it's like, dude, you just saw within 5 days, the Rams just drop off a generational bag to Trent McDuffie, and the Ravens give up 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. I never want to hear Josh Allen's contract be used as an excuse ever again. And
I will say this. This deal is, the Rams went out and got a guy they needed. We needed somebody that could be a difference maker. Maybe they felt that that's what was missing for them to get over the hump and get things done, right? Them losing late in the games last year, especially in the playoffs, that was a Super Bowl team. That was a Super Bowl freaking team, right? But here we are. So, listen, JSN, that boy made them go out and get McDuffie. JSN made them go get McDuffie. And McDuffie is there to make a difference, because these Rams are not playing games. That tells me they're all in. They're going for it. And Leslie said, F them picks. That's what it's going to be about. So 4-year deal extension, $124 million, surpassing Sauce Gardner with an average of $31 million a year for Trent McDuffie, nickel corner. Golly, that is some money. Good on the Rams. They know exactly what needs to be done. That's why I bring it back to the Bills. And this is where Brandon Beane, call it what you want to call it, there is some pressure on Brandon Beane, because now you don't have McDermott that you're going to be butting heads with. All you have are guys that you say that you are aligned with. So go and get an alignment and find the difference maker on this defensive side of the football. We've added a piece on the offensive side of the ball with DJ Moore. I hope we're not done. We have ourselves a running back. You brought your center back. The O-line is almost all intact. Josh Allen's contract is 100% an excuse. You can't deny reality, Bot. I'll let Bot get into that in just a second. All I'm going to say this before Bot gets in your ass is, I had to say that, is go and do what must be done for you to get your championship. And I think Beane knows that now, right? But that aggressive move to go get DJ Moore, I don't think he's done. I think he's going to try to find a way to strengthen his team and go out and get that. What the next move becomes, who knows? That's why tomorrow and the next week is going to be fascinating. You're going to get into bidding wars, and you better be strategic on what you plan on doing and be a strong player. But Rage Dog saying Josh Allen's contract should 100% be an excuse as to why the Bills can't move around. I just read, listen, the Rams are paying, I'll let Bot get you, but the Rams are paying Devontae, they're paying a slew of players on the Rams. They just paid this guy the big money. You got the Ravens that are paying Lamar Jackson 2 first-round picks, and they're going to have to pay Max Crosby. Man, ain't nobody trying to hear no Josh Allen. He's only $36 million against the cap right now. Boy, please, man. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Ain't nobody trying to hear that, man. So, listen, Bart, the floor is yours. If you want to get to Rage Dog, if you want to be nice to him, you want to go after him, go ahead. Do what you do.
You know, Allen's contract is certainly something you have to navigate around. But you just saw the Packers trade for and pay Micah Parsons, Jordan Love, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. You saw what the Rams just did. They're paying Trent McDuffie $31 million a year now. Matt Stafford, one of the higher paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Lamar Jackson, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. They just traded 2 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby. It's certainly something that makes your job tougher. But I'd argue that having a contract like that would make me want to do stuff like this more, would want me to get into a tougher situation down the line more. The Rams know that Matt Stafford's days are numbered. It was rumored that he might even hang it up before going into this year because of how bad of a back he had. And they were a game away from the Super Bowl. They know how close they are. There was an argument the Rams were the best team in the NFL the entire year. They know how close they are. And they say, hey, our secondary's not up to snuff. So we go and make a major move here. The Ravens know clock's ticking on Lamar. We don't know how much longer we have him in his prime. Hell, he's been injured a bunch in his career. We got to go capitalize right now. The contract of the contract of paying a quarterback an exorbitant amount of money makes the job difficult. But I would argue that it also makes it easier because this is where I would just unleash the dogs and worry about it later when this prime is no longer prime. Because once you get to that point, it ain't going to matter anyways. Because when your quarterback's out of the prime, the rest of the puzzle falls apart as a result anyways. So make sure that you have all the right puzzle pieces while the guy is in his prime right now. This is where I give credit to the Eagles. I give credit to the Rams in particular. The Rams have been the poster child for how to do it right. They have gotten rid of all these picks. The first round draft pick, in essence, is a scratch-off ticket. The Rams have looked at these scratch-offs and said, hey, I could scratch it off, and sure, I could hit the lottery. But, man, I got people willing to pay me a lot of money for the chance at winning the lottery by selling my ticket. I feel like I'm in a better position to continuously keep selling my ticket and acquiring guys that wind up giving me what I'd be after if I had won the lottery anyways. I give all the credit in the world to the Rams because I really do think this is the way to do it.
Right.
And this is why I can't fault the Ravens for giving up these next 2 first-round picks. Are their next 2 first-round picks going to be Maxx Crosby? Likely not. And by the time these 2 first-round picks pan out, well, there goes Lamar Jackson into year 12, year 13. So what would I rather have? The value right now for those picks or the pipe dream that they turn out into something a couple of years down the line while my all-time quarterback's prime continues to diminish? So I understand the idea that there is an excuse baked into paying Josh Allen what they do. Quite clearly, we hear it all the time. But to me, I don't think it should be the hindrance behind doing things that I think would allow you to do the most right now, because that's all that matters. Because when Josh Allen's time is done, I think we all know what the reality looks like.
Well, here's another reality check, right? Where I'm looking at the Rams here, $40 million going to Stafford. 48 mil going to Stafford is cap hit. You got Devontae at 28, Alaric at 25, Dotson at 17. Trent McDuffie just got 31. Fam, look, that's a huge cap hit. Nobody's worried about no damn quarterback, right? Let's go to give me another team. Want to go to the Ravens? What are the Ravens?
I mean, of course, Lamar is way up there.
Right? Let's go to the Ravens right now. Lamar.
Look at that.
So listen, folks, let's not talk about it, right? Lamar, 74 cap hit, 32. I mean, obviously.
So hold on. We're getting to the precipice of Rage's point, though. He's saying they're mortgaging their future. Rage, absolutely, absolutely.
Got to get it
done. That's what you want. You're mortgaging an uncertain future for a guaranteed today. That's what they're doing. You're mortgaging a future that you have no idea what that looks like. The Rams know that the likelihood they're going to be as good without Matt Stafford as they are with him is very minimal. The Ravens understand that they're not going to be as good a handful of years from now without Lamar Jackson as they're currently going to be with him. The Bills are in the same boat. The thing of it is we haven't really seen the Bills do this stuff. We haven't seen moves like this from Buffalo. Whereas we've seen it from the Rams is the best example because the Rams have done this continuously and they've just so happened to also be the best team or one of the best teams in the league every single year. 2 Super Bowl appearances in the time with McVay, 1 championship, multiple NFC title appearances. They have been the poster child, in my opinion, for what good, aggressive management looks like. And it shows you I think it shows you, Rico, just how overvalued that draft picks really are.
It is. It's a big game at the end of the day. If you're a great GM, an ownership, you guys are in tandem, you guys know exactly what you want. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. And you'll do the right necessary moves to make it happen. Right? The Seahawks are a prime example. They felt that they needed to move on from a couple players, DK being one of them, Geno Smith being another, and they went all in on going with a young coach, defensive-minded coach, and they got the job done, right? So everyone's trying to find their advantage somewhere. And right now, the Ravens feel that is the biggest piece that we got to fix. Now they got to go fix that O-line. That O-line wasn't great. They got to help Lamar out now, but we're about to find out. They have put their eggs in the basket, and Maxx Crosby as their big piece, and that's a huge piece. It's one of the best guys in the game. It's one of the best players in the game. So AFC North just got a little tougher, so be it, and we'll go from there. But as for how I feel about this Maxx Crosby move happening, most folks will say, hey, that's really expensive. That's what you got to pay. It's a premium. You're going to have to pay for these players. They're not just going to land on your lap and you're going to have a great – it doesn't work that way. You're going to have to give up some stuff, and that's exactly what's taking place. I just wanted to shed light on one more thing here, because like right now I want to see what's still out there. That's what I'm curious about in terms of free agency and in terms of players available at the defensive end. So I'm going to go to the where the heck is my looking for it here as I get
one last point on Maxx Crosby, by the way. Just think about it if it were Buffalo, how you would have viewed it. And I think most all people would have been thrilled with it. And I just don't know how you couldn't be. The Bills have never had a top edge rusher, and they've been kind of dancing around it for years now. Whether it's the overpay on Von Miller, trying things out with Joey Bosa, throwing draft picks almost every year at the situation, the Ravens just said, hey, we've been kind of trying the same thing here and nothing's worked out. We're just going to go all in. This is where I'd love to see the Bills say, hey, Trey Hendrickson, we'll give you every last dime we got over the next handful of years here to try and do the same here in Buffalo.
Well, how do you feel about Trey Hendrickson? Because right now, Trey, he's still productive, right? 31, just turned 31. Yep. So, I mean, we've seen defensive line. I mean, listen, Jordan Cameron is still productive, has always been a productive, and he's mid-30s, give or take. Calais Campbell has been a productive player, and he's up there. So at 31, I've been hearing some people say, I don't know if I'm ready to pay all that type of money to Hendrickson at 31 years of age. So does he turn you off at 31?
I mean, the guy led the league in sacks, but I do understand the age, the amount of money. Where I do think it's a benefit to the team who gets him is that you're going to acquire a guy that does have a really solid resume, and you're not going to have to give up any picks to do it. That was the one criticism I think people were giving Baltimore, was that they thought that the Ravens could have gotten similar production without giving up the draft picks. But, then again, you're still getting a couple additional years on Maxx Crosby than you would with Trey Hendrickson. I think anytime you get over that, you get into that age 31 range, Rico, I think you're taking a gamble regardless.
52 snap percentage. Listen, 0.90 sack. I mean, listen, he's still amongst one of the best in the game. Yeah. So you can't poo-poo on Trey Hendrickson added to the team. Does he make the Bills better? 100%. Yeah. Does he fit in a 3-4 defense? That's a whole different ballgame. But this is where Brandon Beane definitely has to now understand the scope of where his team is, what they need, and where they can boost. I don't know if that's where we're going to start to dive into the draft sometime soon. But right now, this week is going to be crucial for what the Bills decide to do. If Brandon Beane says he's going to be aggressive, we're waiting for you to be aggressive, because right now the Ravens just showed you, hey, we ain't playing no games, man. We ain't playing no games. We're ready for real. We got to make this thing happen. So that defense just got a lot better. The Bills have quite a few holes. I mean, listen, think about what the Bills need on defense. We need an edge rusher. We need a linebacker. We need a safety, right? So those right now, and maybe defensive tackle in the middle. Might have to add one. So there's quite a few things that we got to handle defensively. So whether we address that through the draft or we are absolutely aggressive in free agency, this is where Bean is going to have to prove to us, where you at? Where you at, Mr. Bean? That's what we're waiting for. We're going to find out.
Noticing a lot of our chat keeping up with the Sabres game. Crazy. 7-7, Lightning, Sabres. Winner of this takes the lead in the Atlantic Division. 7-7. Damn, how about the Sabres? How about the Sabres?
Sabres are playing good hockey now?
Sabres are a win away here from being first in their division. I can't remember the last time they've lost. They're on a roll. Amazing.
7-7. Who the heck is goaltending?
It looks like you and me might be out there for both these.
My gosh, get me in there, boy.
So let me ask you this though: the other night you're sitting there, you get a notification: Bills two first round picks to Maxx Crosby, or to the Raiders for Maxx Crosby. Your initial gut reaction would have been,
yo, let's go. Because
you would have been line it up.
First round pick for 26th.
Yeah,
and that's another thing. People value, unless you're picking top 10. Okay,
I agree.
Okay, you got some value here. The minute you get me your first rounder and you're at pick 24 and beyond, bro, you can have that. Take
and I think the Ravens are looking at it like that, right? Because they have a solid pick this year. I think it's 14. But yep. I think they're thinking, Rico, if we get Maxx Crosby, we're going to be picking like 28th next year. So go ahead and have it.
And this is why I think Brandon Bean must be thinking. This is why I was curious as to why he didn't give up that 26th for that 26th first round pick for Waddle when he had it right there, and Waddle's deal was already paid for, so it wasn't like you're going to be going too crazy for it. But anyway, nonetheless, the fact that he didn't give that, I'm like, okay, so look at what are you up to? What are you up to? So this is.
You think he's scheming with that first rounder?
What's that
currently? Buddy? You think he's scheming with that first rounder currently? You think that's on the table?
He's got to be. And if he's not scheming, you just gave up a late round second pick. Move out of the. Here's another conversation that we have to have. What is in the first round in the 26th pick that has you going gaga?
Ooh, not Maxx Crosby, right? I mean, this is why I don't understand why people freak out about this stuff.
So Maxx Crosby's gone. You ain't got no Maxx Crosby, and then somebody else is available all of a sudden. Myles Garrett, and you can lure Myles Garrett out of Cleveland.
I'd give up 4 first rounds for Myles Garrett.
It's just not happening. So what is he doing with that? So if he has nothing planned with that first round, get out of Dodge, because we were able to pick up for Keon, I think, a third. So if you can recoup a pick and now you have an early second and a mid third or early third, okay, now we're cooking. We can move some things around. Unless you have someone that you are absolutely in love with, go ahead and get it. I can't see the Bills moving up, because that would be the only other move I would think of is he's aggressive enough that he says, you can have my first this year and my first next year, because I want this collegiate player that we don't know if this is going to pan out or not. I'll go for the proven rather than does this guy have it? And I don't know if there's anybody worth it right now in the draft that worth 2 first round picks. Heck no. So Brandon Bean, bro, you kind of showed your cards a little bit last year when you said I ain't giving up for Waddle. So like, all right, so you're going to be doing something. I'd love to know what side of the football is going to be, offense, defense. I assume it's going to be on the defense side of the ball. So who's worthy enough to trade for? Who's on the block? That's what I need to know. Myles Garrett, I mean, you can never say never, because I never thought Maxx Crosby would be available, but now he is. You've always said it. The Vikings are not tied to Justin Jefferson.
The Raiders with Maxx Crosby are in the same boat to me as the Vikings are with Justin Jefferson. That's why I always thought Maxx Crosby was going to be dealt.
So
always.
Maybe he says, we're double dipping and I'm going for Justin Jefferson. I told you he's going to be aggressive. We've always put our eggs in a basket on defense. Now I'm going to put my eggs in a basket on offense. Is that the right move? Not necessarily for me. However, we're paying attention. What were we going to say?
I was going to say the one other thing to factor in here that I feel like we've actually gone far too long without even bringing up.
Talk to me.
The Chiefs got 2 first round draft picks now, one of which is the highest they've had in a very long time. I wonder what they're cooking up behind the scenes too, because I wonder how they're treating this upcoming year with Mahomes' injury. I wonder if there's, something to be said about them treating this upcoming injury or this upcoming season as kind of a buffer year to really come back strong in 2027. But they got assets too. It's just one more reason why I think you got to go after it now, because these teams aren't going anywhere. They're just not. I mean, they're going to they have the ammunition as well. So I just feel like whatever the Bills can possibly pull off in terms of really stretching their limits, I feel like this is the year. Like, you're running out of years to do this. You're running out of years. This is why I think this is what Baltimore was thinking. You're running out of years to do stuff like this. Like teams like the Panthers aren't making this move. People are like, you're paying too much. You're paying too much. There's a reason the teams that are doing what they're doing are doing it. It's because they know the position that they're in. You won't see the Raiders make a move like they just made to get rid of a guy, to acquire a guy.
Yep.
You're seeing teams acquiring these guys who know that they're running out of time. And the Bills are running out of time. Point blank. They're running out of time.
You're not wrong. And you need to do it now while Josh is still in his prime. You need to do it now. And I think, I'm a little disappointed that the realization is coming now, right? Maybe they took it for granted that this guy's always just going to bail us out and get us there. We've been knocking on the door for so long. We just maybe need to tweak it. Now I think he understands, bro, we need to really go in for it. And then it makes me just wonder, was McDermott that much of a rigid individual that, no, I'm not, we got to be conservative and we can't, bro, was it the case? I just can't understand it. I mean, the dynamic nonetheless was always weird. I've already said this before, and I sound like a broken record. You report to me separately. Now it's one accord. One guy reports to obviously Pagula, which makes sense. So I want to see how Brandon's going to deal with this. But like, man, was McDermott that much of a like, no, don't do that. Don't do this. Bro, you've had Josh. You know what you have in Josh. Bro, give him everything you got. Give him everything you got. But we've been in such a cap nonsense. Our cap has been horrible. So we haven't been able to. We've been bargain binning. So no more bargain bin, man. Open the wallet up. Restructure who you have to restructure. By the time it's all said and done, we'll have at least 30 mil. Not a whole lot that you can play with, but you can go up as high as 50, depending on how you want to do this. So if you're really all in, do it. Do it now. Everybody knows that you're trying to win the whole thing, and it ain't no secret. Do what you got to do. If it looks like you're desperate, if it smells like desperation, so be it. Let them sniff you. Let them smell the desperation. If it gets us a Super Bowl, shoot, you're not going to care about how you smell, boy. You're going to take that stench off the 90s and give that new smell, that new car smell of a championship. Do what you got to do. Do what must be done.
Yeah.
F them picks and F the cap. That's what I say.
That's why I respect what Baltimore did. Whether it works out or not is one thing, but in the moment, does it not immediately make them? Do you not look at them immediately in a different way? I
Absolutely.
do.
Are you answering the question now? Did the Ravens? By the way, Sabres win. Good for you guys. Good for the Sabres.
How about it? Sabres were 8-7. What a wow!
That's ridiculous.
First place.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to watch the Sabres in the playoffs. I haven't watched the Sabres in the playoffs since I was in elementary school.
Maybe they'll take it. Maybe it's the year they take it. Maybe
that'd be great. I'm excited for that.
Let's not jinx it. But here's my final question for you before we get out of here and wrap this up. Did the Ravens surpass the Bills?
In terms of going all in to get it done with their quarterback, yes, I think so. They went out, Derrick Henry, now Maxx Crosby. If we're lining the two teams up right now, though, for some reason, and it's just a gut feel, I always trust the Bills more. The Ravens are really good at blowing it late. Is this going to be the ultimate difference? I got to see it first, but I got to tell you, they did everything they needed to do to cement themselves back into the place that they were not that long ago. I do think that from it, I guess looking at it from the personnel perspective, you would have to say yes, but I think right now I would still take the Bills just because I trust the Bills more than Baltimore. But this was a massive move that I think gives you every reason to believe they're back in contention for it all.
I'm going to be with you and say, yes, the Ravens have surpassed the Bills as of right now, because you got to look at it. Don't look at it on how the Bills finished last year. We are talking about as of right now. Everybody's 0-0. We just fired our head coach. So did the Ravens. The Ravens picked up a defensive-minded head coach. He picked up a big-time player, Maxx Crosby. Joe Brady got himself a receiver one in DJ Moore. But which one is going to be more impactful? Defensive ends are a premium. So right now, give the edge to the Ravens. The Ravens have quality pieces on defense. Can you say the same thing for the Bills? Like really quality pieces, right? Cole Bishop is coming along. I like what I see in Cole, right? Benford, solid corner. Love what I see. We don't know what we got in Max Harrison, right? Linebacker, Bernard didn't end the season well. We don't even know if we're getting our best linebacker last year, Shaq Thompson, returning. So that is an open void. Defensive end, we're going to a 3-4 defense, right? We got Ed Oliver, the smaller defensive end, and we got two rookies going to their second year in Sanders and Walker. So there's a lot of questions on this defense, especially going into this 3-4 defense. So how could you say the Bills are still over the Ravens, right? To me, quarterback to quarterback, I mean, a lot of people can look at them as 1A, 1B. Both are excellent players, right? You got James Cook, you got the good all-line offense is legit. DJ Moore coming through is great. The Ravens, they're going to add on the offensive side. So, but that Max Crosby pickup gives them a boost. As of right now, I got the Ravens slightly over the Bills. As of right now, we're going to find out how the rest of this offseason shakes out. And then
I want to clarify. I don't think the Ravens are better than the Bills right now. I think
right now, what are people freaking out about? It's okay. Stand on it.
I don't think they're better than the Bills right now. I don't. I trust the Bills more. I think that they're making they're taking a far better approach towards going all in than the Bills are right now. I think that's unarguable. I think that they're no question putting all their chips in the middle of the table. But I do think if the Bills line up today, Rico, I'm going to bet on the Bills every time. I trust the Bills more than I trust Baltimore.
Did you not hear what I just said about the defense?
What?
The amount of holes that we have on the defense right now. Safety, linebacker, defensive end. We don't have an edge rusher. Bro, we got holes. Max Harrison.
Ravens have holes all over the place too, though.
They do. But that's why I said as of right now, if I'm looking at what they have and what we got with that Max Crosby, I give him the slight edge for the Max Crosby pickup.
Yeah, this is where I'm torn because it is such a massive move. But I do wonder, it's more on the offensive side of things that I feel like I don't trust Baltimore all the time. That's the interesting thing. Like, it's where I don't know the amount of times where I feel like they have come up short on that end of the ball when it should be the opposite is what is interesting to me. But at the end of the day, no question about it. The Ravens are doing everything they feel like they need to do to get it done with Lamar. And I got to give them all the credit in the world for that.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, it's everybody's 0-0 at this point. Everybody's 0-0 until they strap up and get on the field and away we go. But I mean, listen, we were supposed to get our asses whooped in that week 1 game, and we were until they collapsed. So I understand your point with they can't be trusted. I mean, some say maybe the same for the Bills.
That's the thing that you can say that with the Bills. I've always felt like the Ravens are like one notch below it because you can't trust the Bills. But then again, the Ravens, you can't trust them, but the Bills always beat them. So it's like this weird hierarchy of lack of trust. You know,
it is change, man. I mean, listen, we have all offseason to talk about this. This was great. Max Crosby obviously gives the Ravens a significant boost on the edge. Big Duffy getting absolutely paid by the Rams. My goodness. And they're going to tax the heck out of that brother too, living out in LA. So we'll see how much he goes home with. But at the end of the day, folks, listen, big week tomorrow. Like, look for us to be, live. Listen, Bot, I know when something pops off, he's going to be right on it. He's going to be right on it. That son of a gun's going to be right on it. I'm going to try to. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think we got something big coming Buffalo's way this week? If you were
to
guess, you do think? Okay.
He has to. He's in desperation mode right now. He's got to do it. If he sits on his hands and says, "Yo, DJ Moore was my aggressive move," when the magician comes in and he has the final move, and you're like, "What was it?" He pulls out the little pistol and it has a little flag. Bang! That's it, Bro, you can't shoot your little pistol and that little flag bang comes out and that's your trick. Nah, bro, you got more to do. You've got more. So he's already started restructuring. You saw the cuts that were made. He's making some room, and he hasn't really made the major moves yet, right? That he could restructure. Bro, he's got to do something, man. He's got to do something. And if Trey Hendrickson is the move that he comes to Buffalo, I'm good with that. Am I over the moon? Like, ooh, that was a good pick. I'm not going to be over the moon because I promised myself also that I'm not going to get over the moon with anything Bean does until it's all said and done. I can kind of get a greater picture. I used to be the guy that was like, oh, yeah, we got it. We won the. I'm not in that won the offseason nonsense. I want to see where I said to myself, I'm going to be critical. I'm going to stand back and just kind of try to take it all in. So if Henderson is the move, great. That's a good piece. I'm sure he's going to add on to that. 31 years of age. But we've seen other players do well and do wonders. But he's going to have to come with it, man. I don't know what he has to do to come with it. That's another thing because not everybody's just available like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Brandon is figuring out with his new his alignment with everybody on that roster. So we'll see.
And I see a lot of people in the chat saying we can't trust the Bills either. They
can't be trusted.
We are well aware. Trust me. Trust me. The Bills and the Ravens are far more similar than you think. You got superstar quarterbacks going into year 9. You're going into a year where you just fired a head coach of at least 9 years. Harbaugh there nearly 20 years. McDermott there for nearly 10 years. They're more similar than you think. This is where lining them up and saying who's better right now, I feel like it's still awfully close. I got to give credit to the Ravens for saying, screw it. We're just doing it. We're just diving in, going head first. Getting Max Crosby. Let's get to some super chats. Maddie, the video, stopping by, showing a little bit of love. Appreciate you, Maddie. It's Money Mitch, the lead Robster. Here at minute 1 of the stream and reacting to the stream title, the Ravens have not surpassed the Bills. I don't see them as an edge away. Offense fails them in the playoffs. That's kind of what I was getting at. I am a hater, but yes, I am correct. The one thing about the Ravens I don't fully trust, weirdly enough, is the part of the team that I feel like I should trust the most. But I'm interested to see how the Bills and the Ravens both navigate a very interesting point of their franchise, where they are going into this whole new era. The Ravens are going in head first once again. I mean, they're starting things off by saying we're going nuts.
They have to.
So
think about it though. There's a lot of teams that have to go all in. The Ravens, like, listen, both quarterbacks are going into year 9. And when I heard you say Lamar going to year 9, damn, Josh is going to year 9, man. Like,
yeah,
enough.
Like when you say that out loud, you're like Caroline. And then Caroline asked me, she's like, how long do you think you'll have it? I'm like, I don't know. This is why I tell you every year that this is why this matters so much. I don't know. But I'll tell you what.
We will find out.
We will find out. And I'll tell you another thing. A lot less time than we had.
Thank you.
A long time ago is the best way to put it. Yeah.
We're on the back 9.
Right there. Right there. You're on the back 9, but the thing is, Rico, I don't think this course has 18 holes. So that's the thing. Like, I think that you're
and listen,
you're closer to the clubhouse than you think.
Yes, I'm telling you right now. And on that back 9, things start to get a little tight. That back starts to get a little tight. You know what I'm saying? So we need to make sure that we're hydrated. Cart girl, come back around. I need a little something.
Yeah,
let's make it happen.
And Ravens fans need to feel it even more than Buffalo fans because the Ravens have an injury history with Lamar. And that's the other thing, too. There's a difference here. Regardless, though, 2 all-time talents that right now, they have 3 MVP trophies amongst the 2 to show for it and nothing else. So both these organizations are looking at that saying that's a travesty. We got to do something about it. Jason Miller, DJ, wick, still separates well and stays healthy. 2 pivotal things here. Enough with the BS about whether or not he is going to be on the cover of Madden. I don't care. The guy separates, and yes, Jason, you're nailing it. 5 straight years without missing a start. Come on over to Buffalo, and you'll see what's going on in terms of that being a real issue. So reliability. Think about it. Even the most reliable element of the Bills' offense, it felt like at times in the past game, Dalton Kincaid. What's his biggest issue been? Staying on the field. Like, so that's another thing that can't be overrated. We were just talking about it with Lamar. Like, the big difference, you want to talk about the biggest difference between Lamar and Josh Allen, it's durability. Like, it's one of the biggest reasons that Mahomes and Allen have been what they've been.
That's a big point. That's a big point.
So,
oh yeah,
it's a huge factor you're nailing there, Jason, where I do feel like an underrated element of this move for Moore is not only is he damn good, he's healthy. Money, Mitch. One more. If Buffalo, a winning franchise, has to give a 2 for great, healthy wide receiver ones, then do it. I also don't think he's done addressing wide receiver. I could see a complimentary piece in Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brian Thomas Jr. Remaining picks would be for defense. That'd be one expensive complimentary piece, I would imagine. Now with that second round pick gone, I'm with you though, dude. And I got to tell you, I don't know what I really want. I'm kind of like the kid on Christmas who wants something fun. I want Santa to come loaded, but I don't really know what I want him to bring me. I kind of want Brandon Beane to just get rid of the first round pick. Am I nuts?
No, you're not, because I'm on board with that. Unless
I kind of want him to just do something crazy.
Because you're essentially going for that first round pick just to have that 5th year option, and you're paying more. You're paying more for that guy, right? So that 5th year option means a lot. So if you're not sure, like a guy like Kincaid, we picked up his 5th year. Okay, now we have to make a decision. He's got another year to kind of let's figure this thing out. So yeah, that's why the 5th year is there. But if there's no one there worthy of like to pay him that much, and then that 5th year, bro, let's back that thing up.
I kind of want him to just do it because I just feel like it signals. For starters, I think that you're guaranteeing yourself a better opportunity to win now if you were to do that. I just don't know what it is you're requiring. But with the amount of needs they have, I do feel like it could be well spent somewhere. And there could be guys that are available that we don't even know are available. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. You just don't know until you start.
Like, did you really think the Ravens were in the market for Maxx Crosby? Like, I didn't.
I mean, you didn't know until Lamar's Instagram was like, oh, because I don't think he knew. None of these guys knew. The cost share was like, bro, let's swing and swing hard. And they did. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed it.
Would you rather him use it on offense or defense? Or do you not care? You just want to see him use it?
I'd rather, if they're going to use it, I'd say defense.
No. I'm saying in a trade. Would you rather him trade it away for a defensive player or an offensive player?
Oh, I don't know I don't know yet.
Come back to me. I don't know. Why is it though that I just want him to do it? Is that foolish of me?
No, it's fun.
You know what? What's wrong with that? I think it is fun.
It's fun.
I would see and I would be like, you know what? That's fun. That is fun.
That's cute.
I can get excited about this.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know how excited I can get about the 26th overall pick.
Listen, the closer we get to draft, that's when we'll know.
You're right.
We get the draft.
You're right. I can't get excited about it today. I can get excited about the trading a pick away today, though.
You're right. I know how passionate you were when we gave up on Xavier, and you're like, oh, you were passionate. So right now, there's not enough juice left. There's not enough juice left for you to go ahead and jump there. But Richie Fresh has some juice. He goes, first, the Bills will still own the Ravens. Second, the Sabres are on one right now. My gosh, BF might want to start covering hockey soon. Sabres and drought before the Jets. Are you kidding me? Sabres fanatics? Are you?
Could be time to be covering a little bit of the hockey. I'll tell you what. I'll go live for some hockey. I'll go live for some Sabres playoff games. That could be fun.
I'm at message. What's Get Right saying?
Get Right saying, why can't Moore be our Puka or Justin Jefferson? And this at the end of the day is the overarching point. DJ Moore can be the Bills' Puka or Justin Jefferson. Just because he is in Justin Jefferson or Puka doesn't mean he can't be that for Buffalo. And guess what? He was just traded to be that for the Buffalo Bills.
Thank you.
This is what he was traded for. He wasn't traded for because he's already those guys. He was traded for because he instantly becomes that for Buffalo. Now, whether that actually results in him being an offensive player of the year caliber guy is one thing. But the Bills needed stability and production at that position. And with the track record that DJ Moore has, they just traded for exactly that. So what the Bills are getting in DJ Moore is the best receiver that they've had since Stephon Diggs with a resume to prove it. And he instantly comes in and not only becomes the top target for Josh Allen, but instantly alleviates the pressure and instantly opens things up for all the other guys that didn't have much production to begin with a season ago. To me, I just don't think that there's a whole lot to look into here other than it had to happen. Brandon Beane made it happen. And even though it's not the sexiest, oh my God, did you see what the Bills just did? I can't believe it. It's still kind of like that. It's just not this top household name that your grandmother knows. And the Bills don't need that to move the needle.
Let me just give you one more thing before we jump on to the next one, right? I'm looking at, we're talking about like, you said a great point. DJ Moore wasn't brought to like be the guy that's already there. He could be even better than what he was before. Stephon Diggs, when he left Minnesota, we didn't know what Stephon Diggs was going to be when he came to Buffalo. We just knew that we got a better receiver. We have a receiver now that Josh can actually
think about what they had. That's a great point because they were at the time. It was like, oh, Calvin Benjamin, that's our guy. Like,
thank you. Right? Stephon Diggs comes in, and you're like, okay, this is good. This is great. They gave us first round pick, and I'm sure people were bitching about the first round pick we gave him, but then he came in and gave us 1,500 yards, 1,200 yards, 1,400 yards, and in his last big season with us had 1,100 yards, bro. And look at his targets: 166, 164, 154, 160. Consistent with receiver one. You don't think that DJ Moore is consistent enough to get all that? Come on now.
I don't get this idea. I mean, once again, I can only chalk it up to the fact that people just don't view anybody outside of like 5 receivers as a wide receiver one.
Yeah.
The guy's numbers his entire career are wide receiver one outside of last year. And, and the whole thing is Ben Johnson didn't do this with him or that with him. Caleb Williams, for one, isn't Josh Allen. 2, they did have far more to work with than the Bills do. Like, DJ Moore just wearing a Bills uniform instantly results in 100 targets.
Come on now.
Not minimum.
Yeah.
If he's healthy 17 games, I'd love to see the over-under on it. I'll put money on it right now. If DJ Moore plays all 17 games, he gets at least 125 targets in Buffalo in 2026.
And it's really not that crazy. Is that a crazy amount to think?
No, it's just the last 2 years. I mean, I don't think so. I I personally think it's going to be higher than that. I think, if I had to like bet on an over, I bet you he hits like 140.
Bro,
what was Stephon Diggs? What was his top target amount when he was in Buffalo?
164. That's
what it was?
Yeah, 164 was his top target when he was with Buffalo.
Okay.
And let's go to the 2020, I think it was the 2022 season. So 2022 season, he was averaging like targets. He had targets like 9, 15, 11, 6.
Every
11,
year, Rico.
13.
Every year in Buffalo, he had 150 targets or more. Every single year.
8, 10, 16 targets, right? Like it was at least 9 to 10 targets per game. Come on now.
DJ Moore is getting 130 plus targets minimum. Guaranteed. You can book it right now. Bet your life on it.
Listen, I'm good with that.
Yep.
What's our guy?
Pack BT in the building. Long time no see, boys. Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you as well, BT. I'd much rather have Max than Moore. Well, come on. Come on, BT. You and me both, brother. And what have we done with our first that makes people think it's too much? This is where I'm at with it. This is like with the second round pick. It's like you're not going to get better than DJ Moore. Yes.
We're picking late. And I'll tell you this. The one time that we picked early, we got Josh Allen and we got Tremaine Edmonds. And maybe we got Tremaine Edmonds back.
Could you
think about it? The times that we picked early in the first round, which is not often, we went and got ourselves a freaking franchise quarterback. And you saw what Bean had to do. Glenn had to go. Move this around. Move that piece. Get to the 7th pick. Josh Allen falls in our lap. Bro, we've been picking late. So it's a crapshoot picking late. You don't know what you're going to get.
This is why Rico and I both don't really give a damn if they give up the first round pick. Who cares? Nope. Go and get something of need if you're able to do it. Well, now, to your point, would you rather have an all-time edge rusher that commanded 2 first-round picks in a trade over, a 9-year vet receiver? Yeah, I'd probably go that route too, BT. But listen, right now, Brandon Beane, he's checking some boxes, and that's what we need to do right now.
Checking the boxes. And Polish, my guy BT comes in and says, yo, happy International Women's Day.
Oh, thank you.
Side note, who cares what Ravens gave up? Question is, why didn't we? I mean, shoot, they beat us to the punch maybe, or maybe that's just not on our radar.
Wait, side note, who cares what? Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I see all these Bills fans like,
why didn't we do that?
No, I'm not even, that's the thing. I'm not even seeing that, Rico. I'm seeing, I can't believe the Ravens did this.
Oh my gosh.
Fools they are. Fools they are. I'm like, are you out of your mind?
Listen, the amount of complaints that I had to like tell people to calm down with this whole DJ Moore. We gave up a second round pick. We've done worse. Let's settle down, everybody.
The only thing I understand about the Moore frustration is the fact that if he doesn't pan out, then once again, you have massive cap implications for a guy that didn't work out. But the thing is, that's all insinuating. That's the thing, though. You're insinuating it's not going to work out. If it works out, then who gives a shit?
Exactly. If it works out, nobody's talking about it. If it doesn't, then you're like, holy crap, right? Because when Von Miller came to town, we said, woo, that's a lot of money. But when he was getting sack after sack after sack, we're like, bro, that was worth it. And then he got hurt. And we're like, oh, shit, that was terrible. So fans, man, fans are going to fan. Fans are going to fan. That's what happens.
I hope it works.
Hey,
with DJ Moore. I'm excited.
That's it.
And listen,
I gotta get that. I gotta get that DJ. I gotta get that on my sideboard.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of excitement, we are excited about free agency, which kicks off tomorrow throughout the week. We will have you covered. If anything crazy goes down, I'll be with you. Rico and I will be with you to recap what goes down. We can't wait.
Do not be surprised if you see me jump on while you're on live and I'm at work and I'm like, yo.
And we're like, wicka. We just got. I'm excited. I hope we see something crazy.
League gear open up at what is it? Midnight? Does it open up at midnight, or is there a certain time it opens up?
I don't. What time?
Because we might. I don't think it's
midnight. I don't think it's midnight. Noon. It'll be noon tomorrow.
Okay, that's good. That's like everybody on your marks, get set, let's roll.
On your marks,
begins.
Get set. Something insane that Bean never would have thought he would have done. Does it, dude? That's what I hope I'm having for lunch tomorrow
at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. is when it starts.
I'm seeing the legal tampering period starts at noon Eastern on Monday, March 9th.
Oh, excuse me. I'm looking at Wednesday 11th, 4 p.m.
Yeah, Wednesday is when the official it is the signing started.
That's right. You're right. Bingo.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
All right. Well, hey, how about for now? 2 hours, 6 minutes in the books on a Sunday evening, recapping a lot of craziness that happened this last week, including DJ Wicka Moore coming to Buffalo, Connor McGovern extended, Taron Johnson, one of the few Bills players moved off from, and then of course Maxx Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens. That's what happens. That's what happened this past week. Can't wait to talk about what happened this upcoming week with you throughout this week. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for us tonight. That's Rico.
This is for the Sabres. There you go.
Sabres first in the Atlantic Division. Soon to be the Buffalo Bills after they go nuts tomorrow during free agency and add that guy that's going to get them over the top. All right, everybody. Much love. That's Rico. I'm Bot. Talk to you soon. And as always,
go Bills.
Go Bills.